Hi you guys, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. I've had several new subscribers lately and I really appreciate that, so welcome. Today I thought, I'm still working on the spring themed journal, and I thought I would do my best to use up scraps. So I have all of these scraps from, the paper pack that I've been using, and I want to try and not have so many. So I have taken a piece of cardstock, green cardstock, and we're just gonna, collage some pages or some pieces down. And I've kind of gotten this one laid out, and so I just left it, and we'll go from here, but the rest of them will be, one of those we'll see what happens kind of thing. Let's see. I'm just going to try and line them up as best as I can with the edge, and then hopefully doing that they'll line up with each other as well, and then things can stick off the top, and then we'll trim it all down when we're done. The journal is getting very close to being all filled up and ready to sew in. I just can't seem to leave a page alone, I just keep going with it, and I think, okay, I should be done, and then I'll turn the page of the signature, and then I'll think, well, that's blank, and we can't have that, So I make my job, sometimes harder than it should be. So, but that's okay. Trying to think if I have any, exciting things to talk about. I haven't been doing much. Just the normal trips to the grocery store, that sort of thing. I was thinking about running in and looking at Joann fabric. I don't know. There was an email that came through. Probably everybody got the same email about, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, about new Tim Holtz products. When I was in there the last time, they're constantly rearranging their scrapbooking and paper crafting area. Unfortunately, what they're doing most of the time is making more room for Cricut and vinyl stuff, which I don't use. So I don't want them to do that. I want them to give me more things to use, but whatever. Okay, so then I'm gonna cut this down to around here. This sometimes is hard. But anyway, I might run in and see what they have. So yeah, they were rearranging, and I noticed that they had cleared out an area next to the Tim Holtz stuff. And I thought, oh, does that mean they're gonna shove more vinyl in there, or are they going to put more paper crafting things? What are they gonna do there? Well, I'm hoping it's paper crafting. This part is kind of tedious, but so now look, I have this, and I stuck it over to the side because maybe I'll use it. Well, Okay, so I cut it just a little bit too small, but that's okay because I can trim it off in the end, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, so I might go and see what they have. And then my son's birthday is coming up, and I don't know. He needs, I don't know what he needs, but I'll probably go find him something for his birthday. I might do that today, but you know, I oftentimes think that I might go do something, and then I sit here at my craft table or my scrap or whatever I call my desk. I sit here and hours go by, and I'm like, oh well, guess I'm not going into town today. Okay. So I'm just going to make a little mark that I can have as a reference on how far to put my glue. So what do you guys do with your scraps? Normally what I do is I have all my scraps left over after a project. The journal that I've created is bulging, and so it's not like I can take those scraps and add it to the journal because I, you know, at that point almost can't close it anyway. So I just put them in the paper pack and put it away, and then I've got a mess that really I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use, but I continue to do it every time. So this time, before I'm totally done with my journal, I'm trying to use the scraps, and we'll see how that works for me. Do you guys just throw yours away? And then also I think, oh, this will be great, I'm gonna do this. And so then I'll make a couple of things, and I still have, you know, it doesn't take as many as you think it's going to. And of course you end up with more scraps. But I plan to throw the littlest ones away when I'm finished. We'll see how that works for me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one. And then I'll just mark this one. Try not to get glue beyond that point. I'm going to take some, my son has some Birkenstocks, and the sole is all worn out on them. So I'm going to take them in. I called a place that resoles them because Birkenstocks are expensive, and I don't want to buy him another pair, but I could do that for his birthday if they look at them and tell me that they can't be resoled. And that's possible because he did start wearing into the cork just a little bit. So we'll see. I'm hoping they can just be resoled though. This is one of those mornings that my eyes aren't focusing well. I'm going to throw these away. Into the trash they just went. Okay, I'm going to throw this one away, but this one might be good for like a corner, you know, or something for just during this process. If I end up not using it in this process, I will throw it away. So we'll just see. This part is kind of hard for me, the getting something to fit within a space. and I should have planned it a little better to not to do that, but at least the paper underneath is green, so it shouldn't be too obvious if it doesn't fit. I think it'll be okay. I mean, it's not totally perfect, but I think it'll be okay. Let's see, how much was the hang off? Barely any. If I bend it just a little bit and try and lay it in that way, let's see. Maybe I can get it to go in the corners. There we go. Okay, and then I'll just trim that edge off. And I don't know if I said this before, but this paper is, the paper pack that I'm using, you know, is heavier paper. And I haven't done a lot of collaging, but I feel like the heavier cardstock isn't good for ripping and layering up over. I feel like it would get too bumpy. Having said that, I don't know that I've ever tried it. But if you do this kind of thing on a thin piece of paper, like if I were gluing these pieces onto a thinner stock of paper, then these folds would end up folding on you. But since it's onto a heavier cardstock, I haven't had a problem. But you can kind of see like shadowing of where the lines are and stuff like that. I mean, I'm okay with that. So this, I'm going to decorate it, but I've made it to go inside of this little pocket here. So there's actually a home for it. But for now, I'm going to sit it between some heavy books so that hopefully it doesn't warp on me while it dries. And then I'm going to flip through and see where I have any more places to poke something. I mean, there are several places. I've got pockets here I could put stuff. I could put stuff in here. I could put another one in here. I've got the other signature. Okay. So I have another piece. Now this is a heavier piece of paper, but not cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and see how it works for that. I feel like that's not a straight cut there. Let's see, I'm going to make it 4 inches. That way it should go inside of any of the pockets, if that's what I choose to do. Okay, and then I'm going to do my collage on top. Let's see what we have. And then I ended up not using this, so let me trim off. I had glued it down, and so this is a real thin edge. I'm going to cut that off, line it up to maybe that. And I want more of that. Okay, cut the edge first. It's pretty. Oh my goodness, Stephanie, throw it away. Okay, so, I mean, that would make a cute tag just on its own, wouldn't it? Maybe I don't want to use such a big piece for my scrap. Oh, you guys, I've got a problem, you know? Here's a good piece for a scrap. There's that. And then I end up getting kind of like stumped. Do you guys do that? Try to be more creative in my placement, and I just don't know. What do I have? A good piece. Okay. Now here it's going to have like that whole line, and I don't know that I like that. Maybe I'll go like this. I just like really undid everything I just did, and that's probably not good. Let's see. Okay, I have this. I don't know if I like the green and the green next to each other. I might end up cutting it down some. And I'm probably putting way more thought into it than is necessary. Totally necessary. I mean, let's see. I don't like how these are all this way. I'm gonna glue this bottom piece down all the way. This page was not from the paper pack, but the yellows went with what I was doing. So I used it. It was from, I mean, it wasn't a paper pack. It was just a loose piece of cardstock that I had from something. Probably going to end up only making 2 because it just takes too long, doesn't it? Okay. So I wanted that to be a little shorter, didn't I? Or do I want to do something like this? That's pretty good. We'll try that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down. And you could take and ink them individually. You could if you glue them on a thinner piece of paper and then back them with cardstock, before you back them with the cardstock, you could take one of the sections and focus on it and just stitch around it and make it like a focal point. I've done that sometimes and that looks cute. Or you could ink just one of them and make it a focal point if you don't have a sewing machine that you use on your paper. I'm just gonna kind of tear that for now. I will end up stitching around these. Here. I don't even know how much the resoling of the Birkenstocks is, but I'm sure it's cheaper than a new pair. Isn't it funny how things, come and go? Birkenstocks have been around for a long time. I'm aware of that, but when I was in high school, nobody was wearing them. But then when I was in college, I was very aware of them. And just some in the 90s also. Well, I mean, I was in college in the 90s, but I mean, like in the late 90s also, it was still kind of... And then nobody was wearing them for a while again, except for people who always wear them. I know there are people who, swear by them and love them, and so they've been around forever. But as far as like fashion and people wearing them for fashion purposes, the comings and the goings. And so it's just funny that, my kids are at that point that I was 30 years ago. Did I say that out loud? Well, I mean, obviously you guys know that was 30 years ago. I mean, if I said it was the 90s, early 90s. Last year was my 30 years out of high school. And of course there was no reunion because of COVID, but I don't know if there would have been one anyway. I mean, maybe we would have done something, but I haven't gone to anything that they've had so far because there's been nothing like formally planned in all these years. I went to a tiny school. My graduating class was 30. I think maybe I've told you guys this before, but there was, I think there was 30 of us, but there were a few more people that graduated with us than we even knew. It was weird. We're like, who the heck are those people? I guess night school was going on and we had no idea. It's like, we're seniors, we know everything, we rule the school. Hey, who are you graduating with us? There was like this whole other life going on that we were totally unaware of. So yeah, we had a slightly larger class than we thought we did, but I mean, they didn't go to school with us. We didn't know who they were at all. But anyway, I know that over the years, a few people have gotten together just kind of on a whim. Look, it's been 15 years and 5 of us happen to be in town, so they'll get together. But I've never been around for any of that. So, but we might have for 30 years. That's kind of significant, but COVID, so nope. But it is crazy to think 30 years, and I'm sure that it's that way for everybody. You just don't see yourself as 30 years older, than you were when you graduated high school. That just makes it sound like you're ancient, and doggone it, I'm not ancient. Okay, let's see how this one turned out. I don't think that was part of it. If it was, I don't know. No, it wasn't. You could even put something on top at this point, you know, like this right here is a bendy place because of how there's, you know, nothing to stop it from bending. And you could take and put, you know, another piece over the top of it or something and make it a decoration. But I'm going to get the other one that we just did and see about decorating it. And this is totally on the spur of the moment, you guys, and that kind of stuff freaks me out so bad. Let's see. Okay, I decided not to use these really bright pages in the book. You're welcome, Cindy. I think that they're maybe just a little bit much. I tried to make them work, but every time I turned the, sorry about the noise, every time I turned the page and saw them, I just didn't like them. So I pulled them out. And I don't know if this is going to do anything at all. It isn't. So I'm not going to do that. I want this to be a little darker. For some reason, I can't find my craft, the little bit darker craft colored ones. I don't know where they went. So let me find some Distress ink real quick. And I'm just gonna darken it a little bit. This image of this lady I found on the Graphics Fairy website. She was I think a St. Patrick's Day image, you know, like if you searched for ladies in green or something like that, I think is what it was. I cut her out from what looked like was maybe a postcard or something that was all green. Okay, so that made it a little darker. And then I'm gonna use my script stamp and just put a little bit of pattern on top of it. I should have put my little stamp pad underneath it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So it gets it, oops, some. Black probably would have shown up more, but that's okay. So these I also found on the Graphics Fairy website. I don't know if one of them will look good or not. Let's give it a try. I don't remember. I might have searched labels or something like that and found these. I'm just going to ink it a tiny bit. It's very, very bright. And then I've been using the pumice stone distress oxide around some things. So I'm just going to do that too, so that it doesn't, you know, it blends well with everything else I've made. Okay, that's good. Let's see, cover that up. And what else do I have up here? I don't think I have anything else up here that I want to use. Oh, there's a little tiny flower. Something needs to be up here, but I don't know what yet. I had found these on the website, but I feel every time I go to try to use them, I feel like they're not the right color yellow. Maybe if it's hidden a lot. I don't know. Okay. Well, I mean, I like that. I'll go. Okay. I'm gonna glue it. I'm gonna glue it. My glue went sideways, so hopefully I can get it out okay. Oh, I've got those stamps. I might be able to use stamp on there. You know, postage stamps. I should have done this with it laying down on the desk, but now that I'm done with it, I guess not. Let's see, I want to make sure I get it right side up. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna see now this puts a little bit of reinforcement on the area that that fold would happen because of course, this is the heavier cardstock, so I don't think it would have been a problem anyway. Okay. I remember the first time I opened up the art glitter glue and used it and how runny it was, and I thought there was something wrong with it. You definitely don't have to squeeze to get much, you know, to get it out. I probably use more than I need as it is, but oops, I forgot to put that underneath. I don't hate it. But it is bright. Maybe some of this will tone it down a little bit. It's chalky, that Distress Oxide. Yeah, it toned it down. Let me look at my stamps. I like that. This is their Denmark. Argentina, she's cute. Eva Perón. So I know the name, but I don't know anything about her. I don't know if she's a politically incorrect person to use on something. And so until I know that, I guess I probably shouldn't use that. I have no idea if she was like a good representation for the people or a bad. I am very uneducated. So until I am educated about it, maybe I will not use it. I know that there's a Madonna song. So I'm just looking for colors. There's another lady. Luxembourg. I don't know. I wish I had put that underneath. Well, I'm going to put these down. I was watching Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah. It was a long time ago, and she, you know, was doing stuff with stamps. And then several episodes later, she said somebody had let her know that one of the people that she used was a bad guy, apparently. And she's like, oh, I didn't know. So I don't want to use a bad person. I feel like I remember something about shoes. Is that wrong? I don't even know for sure. With Eva Perón. No, that was a different lady. Wasn't there some ruler that had a crazy amount of shoes? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So I think that, I think it turned out cute. And I'm going to, whoopsie, sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and ink around, and I will stitch around it as well, most likely. This ink barely shows up, but in person, I can see the difference. I don't know if you see the difference much. And it shows up more on darker. It kind of makes it look hazy along the edge, which is kind of a neat look. You can kind of see it on this lighter green color as well. When I'm done here, I'm going to look up Eva Peron and see what she was all about. I did go to Argentina once and saw where she lived. In fact, I was telling one of my subbies, artists, about that just the other day, which is a coincidence, I think, quite a coincidence. But yeah, I was there and saw the, I don't know, palace, I don't know what you call it, where she was. But it was a long time ago, and I don't have a good memory for things like that, so I think I have a picture of it. So she will go in here. There we go. And I might put something, you know, sticking out to grab hold of. So there she is. I'm going to lay it out though, so I remember to stitch around it. And the other one, don't know yet what I will put on this one. I did find a Blarney Castle actually might go lovely on there with a little something else. So we'll see. Okay, you guys, thanks for watching, and I hope I've encouraged you to use some of your scraps and, I don't know, learn about Eva Peron. Thanks for watching. Bye, you guys.